Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Welcome to our Once Upon a Time Season 2 finale special. So today we are recapping and chatting about the final two episodes of Season 2, Episode 221, Second Star to the Right, and Episode 222, and Straight On Till Morning. So we are going to go through these one at a time, just to make this less complicated, and so you're not sitting through 5 minutes of a synopsis for both episodes, because they're going to take forever. So we, much like the Bob's episodes, we split them up that way. It's a little easier to follow.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. So episode 221, Second Star to the Right, aired on May 5th, 2013. It was written by Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg and was directed by Ralph Hamaker. Now here is our synopsis for Second Star to the Right. In the past, 6 months after falling through the portal to the land without magic, Balefire sneaks into a home with an open window, hoping to find some food. He's caught by Wendy, who helps him stay in the house so that he won't go hungry, and eventually becomes part of the family. Soon he learns that a magical shadow has been coming to visit the Darlings, and despite his warnings, Wendy goes with the shadow one night, only to return with terrible tales of what she saw. When the shadow comes back the following night for a boy, Bay sacrifices himself to help the Darling family, landing him in the waters surrounding Neverland, and aboard the ship of Captain Hook. And in Storybrooke, Emma is still suspicious of Tamara's presence in Storybrooke, and rightly so. After it's discovered that Regina was taken, she and the Charmings enlist Gold's help to find Regina. Snow uses a potion that will link her vision with Regina's and sees that she's being held captive in the cannery by Greg and Tamara, tortured for information. When the group goes to confront them and save Regina, Emma, Neil, and Tamara fight, leaving Neil shot and lost down a portal with no hope to find him. Regina is saved, after revealing to Greg that she killed his father all those years ago. But now a more pressing matter is at hand. Greg and Tamara are in control of the trigger, and plan to use it to destroy Storybrooke and kill them all.
Yeah, killing everybody. That sounds great.
They're in the final stages of their plan, I guess. There's
the whole thing with those two. I'm just, why?
The whole thing. And I mean, you'll see the reveal of like the real home office thing in the season 3 premiere, so you'll see that next week. But it's the two of them. They're like, we believe in our cause. Do you believe it? Like with Killian, like, do you believe? And he's like, no, I don't.
But like with that too, I know it's jumping up to the end of the other episode. But even Gold being, we have no idea what they're capable of, and they're terrible. And I'm like, dude, no. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
I have so many thoughts that have to wait for still so many weeks.
And that's kind of the premise of this podcast.
Yeah.
I want to say something, but I can't.
Pretty much.
But I'm finally okay, so I was excited to get Bay's story of like, okay, it's been a while since, he called his dad a coward and went down portal.
Yeah,
portals are common.
Yeah, portals are hard to come by unless the plot dictates otherwise.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, awesome. I was curious. I was like, is this the same Earth of Storybrooke when they get to London, or is that different?
That is a phenomenal question. And that is actually something that came up in the wiki, because I also have had these same questions asked of me from other people. So it was confirmed that the land that Bay lands in is, in fact, 1800s London of the land without magic, meaning it's our world, the world of reality.
Okay.
We will see a Victorian-era London realm of story as the show goes on, which is different from this version of the land without magic. So he does land outside of the realms of story, technically speaking.
Okay. You get what I'm saying? It's not like I can go like Marvel, like, because Marvel has all their universes with the multiverse. I can't go, this is Earth, da-da-da-da-da. Like, we don't have names. It's just like, oh, he's in London.
He lands in the land without magic.
Okay. And I loved the whole line of Gold's with his new / old girlfriend.
Yeah.
Loved that. Okay. All the shocking. So hooks her up to like shock therapy, high electricity
Pretty
machine.
Much, yeah.
But uses a taser to kill people.
This was more for dramatic effect in that I guess we're going to go at this point, because I just like to say, because magic is half the things I say with this. At this point, I'm going to go with the taser with some kind of super powerful taser. And this was more for dramatic effect.
It was a choice.
It was a choice.
Seeing Hook, I'm like, see, Hook is not all bad.
He's not
all bad. He didn't stay to help torture Regina. He was like, nah, that's your thing. I'm gonna, like, you can do what you want to her, but I'm not gonna help. It's just very, that's like your morally gray moment. It's like, I did help you kidnap her and like get her here, but I'm not gonna stick around for the rest of it.
I mean, because that's his thing. Like he says, he's like, when your plans involve killing Rumpelstiltskin and not torturing the queen, you know where to find me.
Mm-hmm. And then just having the moment of like the Darling family, which I was very already like, they're not going to kick him out. He's going to find like, it was kind of clear that was going to happen. Simply how Wendy treated her.
Yeah.
For him.
But it's still very much like a fairy tale thing of like, you've been living in our house for weeks. Sure. You can be a part of our family now.
I mean, oh my God, I went to that point. I'm like, oh wait, Bay is changing Wendy's story. Wait a minute, what's going on? And then I wrote in all caps, what did Snow just do? And for some odd reason, I just watched these. Why did I write that? What did Snow do right after?
Did that have to do with her conversation with Emma?
Oh, maybe. I can't remember. My brain's not working. I need to like fix my chaos notes when I actually write these things and be like, wait, usually I'll put things in parentheses. Mm-hmm. I didn't this time, but I do have a moment of all caps of what did Snow just do? I don't know. Mary Margaret. It was a Mary Margaret, but it's Snow. But I say the both.
I see. Yeah, at this point, I use both interchangeably. They're truthfully
exactly
until season 6. Mary Margaret is appropriate. It's really she has a moment where she says, "I'm done being Mary Margaret. I just want to be Snow White going forward," and that is season 6. So until then, Mary Margaret's just fine.
That's fair. I wrote, well, that is fucking creepy. The shadow.
Oh,
I usually like spooky things. I was like, nope, these are children. I don't like this.
I can't wait until you hear the shadow's voice because, oh boy.
It has a voice?
The shadow does speak. Because I'm not going to tell you because it's going to be way too much fun of a reveal when I think, which episode is it? I'm going
to. One of them.
Yeah, it's in one of them. I think, numbers. How do I count? I think 308. Think Lovely Thoughts. I'm pretty sure that's where we hear the shadow speak.
It's like 2 months away.
Oops.
Damn it.
It's closer than it used to be.
God damn it. I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
I like Lacey and Gold together more than with Belle.
I think so. I do too.
It's so much better. It makes more sense because I don't see redemption for Gold, like ever.
Yeah. Well,
I can't.
He said that this is something that I did highlight was magic tends to drive away the people I care about most. Then you've been caring about the wrong people. Mm-hmm. Like she embraces all of him. Yes, she does prefer the darkness, but she embraces all of him.
Oh yeah. Fully expected Dad to be dead. Fully.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
Yeah.
The son ran away. The dad was never seen again. He's 6 feet under.
Yeah, no shit, Kurt is dead.
Yeah, right. He's definitely dead. Why she just held that back for so long? I'm like, just tell the guy.
Because she's got too much pride.
Regina.
That's part of it is her downfall is she really does have too much pride. She will hold on to stuff until she thinks she's about to die.
I had a moment I really wrote, this is actually terrifying. What the fuck? Like everything with this shadow. Just like Neverland in itself. I'm like, why is this creepy?
I love the meme that I sent you though. Again, it'll be even funnier as we go because the meme it's and maybe we'll try and post it I'll post it in like the Instagram stories or something when this gets posted. But it's normal kids. Oh, I want to go to Neverland. It looks like so much fun. Mia wants her, and then it's the shot from Sid the Sloth from Ice Age going, "No thanks, I choose life."
Like, what the fuck is happening in Neverland?
It's gonna never not be kind of creepy, especially because as we see in the next season, our main timeline, for whatever reason, it's never fully explained why, but the main timeline is always nighttime. Which made filming it, I'm sure, interesting because it does make the lighting a little easier because they're like, actually, I never really quite knew when they were on a soundstage and when they were actually in the forest where they just added extra plants. Because some of the stuff is filmed outside, but it's current timeline Neverland will be almost entirely in the dark. Which was not fun for people that made edits and images on Tumblr. It was not fun for us.
No, I bet.
Still not as bad as the Underworld where everything was orange.
Oh God,
that
no.
was
okay.
That was awful.
Ugh.
Those are the two seasons that were the worst.
I bet. I wrote, "Wow, she really shot him," which that's just so weird when Tamara is telling the other bad guy, like, "Oh, it's okay, the ring's gonna come off," but at the beginning of the episode, Neil's making the joke of like, "Get in bed, I'll give you exercise," and I'm just sitting here like, she's undercover and still doing the nasty, and then she shoots him like that. I mean, it's dedication.
She's a little trigger happy. I'll give her that.
Yeah, I'm like, this is awkward. And
yeah,
I mean, okay, I have a lot of words. They just can't seem to form.
That's fair. I wrote, okay, WrestleMania for her and Emma fighting.
They did great with it.
No, it's great. And I was watching one of the behind the scenes things. They did a really great job of intercutting between the two of them, Jen and Seneca, and their stunt doubles, because you really can never tell.
And then the last thing I wrote, which is kind of messed up when, Neil and Emma are like, "Oh my God, I love you," back and forth for this, was not really a fan of this romance, but it is what it is. It was not exactly heart-wrenching when Neil is shot and then goes through the portal. I'm just like, oh, okay, that happened. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Like, I truly did not care. She's crying and like, "Oh, he's gone." And I'm like, okay.
I mean, yeah, and again, that's the thing of like, for me, like, I think I say this a lot. I don't necessarily ship Swan Fire. I think too much bad has happened for that relationship to really work.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, any chemistry that I could conceivably see between the two of them is almost always is Jen and Michael, because the two of them have a lot of chemistry. They have a really good friendship that I say we'll continue to see. Actually, will we?
I don't know.
They're not on screen a lot in season 3.
I mean, he was shot,
and sent through a portal.
So I don't expect to see a lot of him.
He's main cast for season 3.
Jesus Christ. You see how excited I am? Okay, maybe I was wrong where I last line, because I was like, okay, but yay, Hook. I don't know. I'm always happy about seeing Hook on screen. I'm gonna... Where did I cut it?
I don't know. These are your notes, not mine.
I don't know.
I mean, we keep going. We do see Hook at the very end of this episode, but
okay. Then which episode was it? Despite our differences, we're family, and because then after that, I wrote the wreath.
That's gotta be 22.
Okay, so I'm good. We're good then.
Okay.
But yeah, so I know season 3. You can yell at me and just inform me. Separate your shit.
Yeah.
Because last time I didn't, but I think I actually I still put everything under one. But I separated the things, so
yeah, and you're really going to need to, because the season 3 finale really blends together if you don't do that.
Oh, really?
It's even more so than this one, where it's kind of like one right after the other. That one really is.
But still, the wreath still stands.
It is a family wreath. It is not a tree. It's a family wreath.
So what fun things about the first episode?
So like I said, it was confirmed that Bay is landing in the land without magic rather than a realm of story that is Victorian London. Apparently Lana had to do some extensive research into what it's like to be tased for the electrocution scene. So, good on her. We love that commitment.
Just a little shock therapy.
Some shock therapy. It's fine. When the shadow takes Bay to Neverland as they go past Big Ben, it is reading 8:15, which is the same time from the animated film Peter Pan, as well as the time that the clock tower was frozen from the pilot, which is a lovely small detail that they put in these things, and they're always a good time. And speaking of Big Ben, this is the last fun fact I have, really, for this one, unfortunately. I have more for the next one, just because the next one had audio commentary. But for this one, technically speaking, Big Ben shouldn't be there.
Nope.
Because if we're operating under, it's been like everyone kind of says a couple centuries, more or less. If we're operating under that. This is our current timeline is like 2012, I would say. So this should be about 1812, more or less ish. 1812, 1813. Big Ben was not built until 1859, and the bells first rang in July of that year. So for timing to work out correctly, Bay would have landed a good 40 to 50 years before it was ever built.
Good time.
We love people that do their research.
It's a great time.
Yeah. So I love to pick apart some of like the small lines on this show in general, and this is just me being me. In that very beginning scene where when Neil makes the comment of Tamara getting back into bed, she makes a comment that marathons in 3 weeks, I have to train, which this is me being me. I'm under the assumption that she's training for the New York City Marathon, which would make sense. That's where they live.
It's hard to get into that one.
It's hard to get into that one. But the New York City Marathon is in early November. Which would put this episode, let's say mid-October of let's say 2012-ish. Because like I always say, 6 seasons of the show does not extend 6 years. So we say put this up mid-October if we're under the implication that the finale of season 1 into the beginning of season 2 was May, was in line with when it aired. It's been about 6 months, I would say, for the entirety of season 2, which honestly does fit. Especially because Henry says that he's 11 in Manhattan. He was 10 in the pilot, and we learn later on his birthday is in August. So that would be correct. I'm not going to do the work to like figure out exactly how much time passed between everything, but I think 6 months is a good amount of time for time to have passed in this season, in my opinion. Which I think is perfectly fine. So I did say this episode came with a story time.
Oh boy.
And so you said I sent you the new Fantasyland commercial.
Yeah. Yes.
You watched it.
I watched it.
Okay. Did you watch the behind the scenes also? I mean, you didn't have to, but it's just funny either way.
I don't think I got a chance to with my work schedule.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll watch it probably after this.
That's fair.
Yeah, I work is fun.
That's fair. So this episode aired on May 5th of 2013. And very specifically on the airing of this episode, ABC aired a commercial for New Fantasyland, which was a section that got added on to Disney World. It was basically they expanded Fantasyland, they got rid of some things, and they changed things around. And the commercial, we'll make sure the link is in the show notes, because if you haven't seen it, it's a minute of Lana really having a lot of fun. Because the idea with the commercial was that Regina has come to New Fantasyland at Disney World, and she's basically looking to take over, and she's showing you all the new things that got added. So New Fantasyland, it was in the back. It's in the back of what is the Fantasyland section of the Magic Kingdom. Basically, what it added was an Enchanted Forest section and Storybook Circus. Sorry, not Storybook. Storybook Circus. Storybook Circus took over what used to be Toontown. So like there was a section where like that's like where the character meet and greets were for like Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, and like you could go into all their houses and stuff. It was really cool. And I think there was a roller coaster there. I don't remember if that roller coaster was Disneyland or Disney World. But now it has the Barnstormer roller coaster, which is a cute little kiddie coaster. They moved Dumbo over there, and there's 2 Dumbos. I don't think it makes the line any shorter, in my opinion. If you like the Dumbo ride, you like the Dumbo ride. Not my favorite.
Never been.
It's good for little kids. I can give you that. It's a good ride for little kids. The Enchanted Forest section added Ariel's Castle, which houses both the Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid ride, which is it's just you're in a shell and you kind of go on the ride and you go through little vignettes that are like scenes from the movie and stuff. Without fail, every time my family goes on that ride, it stops.
Every time?
Every time. Well, because they have to stop it for accessibility. So for someone to transfer from like a mobility aid, they have to stop it because it's one of those ones that's a continuous motion kind of thing.
Gotcha. Without
fail, it stops for us at least always in the Ursula room in the Poor Unfortunate Soul sequence. I don't know why. It's just our luck, apparently. But
it's a fun place to be.
It's a fun place. Ariel's Castle involves the ride, and there's also a little meet and greet spot for Ariel as well. The Beauty and the Beast section adds Beast's Castle, which houses the Be Our Guest restaurant, which I've been to a couple of times, both while it's been a prefix menu and while it hasn't. And the food is fine, I would say. Like for what you're paying for a sit down, it's okay. The ambiance is really, really cool. Like the rooms really are gorgeous. Like the windows like are animated, so it looks like it's snowing outside the entire time. It looks really pretty. There's one room that has the rose. There's like the West Wing room where everything's kind of destroyed. It's a really cool ambiance. If people are going for it for a character meet and greet, there's just the Beast and that's it.
That's a problem.
If you're going for character dining, it's not going to be your best option, I would say. But I think it's worth it just because it's pretty, in my opinion.
Fair.
And they also added on Gaston's Tavern, which is just quick service. You go in, they have like things like LeFou's Brew. It's kind of like an apple juice kind of thing with like a marshmallow fluff thing on top. It's cool. They have this giant cinnamon roll that I've never had, but it looks really good. And they also, in that section, also added on Enchanted Tales with Belle, which is like part meet and greet, part show. Like the face character for Belle is there, and she like reads stories and stuff. Technically, part of the expansion was Rapunzel's Tower. It's not in the same section as New Fantasyland. It's on the other sides, closer to where Haunted Mansion is. I hesitate to call that an exciting addition because it's just a bathroom. It's a pretty bathroom, but it's a bathroom nonetheless.
Okay.
Yeah. And they later on in 2014, it wasn't part of the commercial. Part of the expansion in 2014 was the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train roller coaster, which is a good roller coaster if you sit in the back. In the front, it's not as much fun. The back rocks a lot more.
Gotcha.
But I loved in that commercial, though, especially having seen the behind the scenes thing of like the guy that's being like the face character for Gaston. He's like kind of hamming it up, and she's like joking with him. And because the part of the commercial, like she walks past him as he's about to say something and goes like, "Save it," just because like 'cause she's Regina and she's trying to not smile through all her takes and everything. But like, I'm curious how that guy was told to act as if he was just. The thing with Disney face characters is they're not supposed to ruin the magic once they're on stage, once they're on, you know, out in the park. So like, was he told to act like Gaston and just accept for like this like half hour they needed him that he knew that technology and cameras existed? Because they're not supposed to know kind of like what technology is, because that's how the characters operate. So I'm like, I'm really curious what like how they told this guy to act.
That is an interesting question.
Because the park was open while they were filming. Like the extras in the back are just people going to the park while they're filming.
Ooh.
So like, I don't know how they told him to act. But either way, if you haven't seen the commercial, it's hilarious. Because I mean, the behind the scenes also will link that as well. Because it's Lana. She's saying it kind of reminded her a little bit of filming the Welcome to Storybrooke episode, where like she's walking around and everything is new and she's figuring things out. And it's like, but she's like she said, she's smiling through all her takes, but like they keep reminding her she's Regina, like the evil queen. And it's very, very, very specific. But part of the story time for this episode is, so like I said, is up. This came out on May 5th. I was on vacation the week that this came out.
Oh.
And I had been watching, this, like I said in the past, I was waiting 6 weeks to see why Regina was being electrocuted. My family, not only we were on vacation on the West Coast. Which, at the time, so the way that aired was, there were two airings. Basically, there was the West Coast and the East Coast. The East Coast was 8/7 Central, and the West Coast airing was 8 o'clock on the West Coast. It's not like it was like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was 8 p.m. So I basically forced my family. I'm like, if we go out to dinner, I need to be back in the hotel room to see this. I was like, I'm sorry. I forced them to go out, get dinner, and come back with enough time so I could watch this from our hotel room, because I had been waiting long enough. I wasn't waiting any longer.
You're like, I can't wait till I go home. I can't.
It wasn't possible.
No.
I was like, no, we can't do this. So I did, unfortunately for my family, force them all back to the hotel room by 8 o'clock.
But they did it.
They did it. I think that's the important thing. Also, I think honestly, we came back. I want to say maybe my dad stayed with me. My mom, my brother might have just gone out and done something else. That's for all I know. We're
like, no, she likes the show. One of us needs to be here.
Exactly. Like, it was important to me. Which I appreciate.
That's so nice, though.
Yeah. But all pertinent links to New Fantasyland. I mean, it's not new anymore. This is 9 years ago. But
yeah,
it's almost
a decade.
It's been almost a decade. I like that section of the Magic Kingdom. Again, I wouldn't really consider Rapunzel to be a pertinent expansion.
Like, imagine being Rapunzel.
Well, that's why it's so funny. Well, that's also why it's hilarious, because the Rapunzel's Tower in Disneyland is not a bathroom. I don't know. I think it might be a meet and greet spot. It might be like where you can meet those characters. So this is gonna make you feel real old if I didn't tell you this. Jared Gilmore, who plays Henry, he's engaged.
Yeah,
currently.
I remember
and
that.
The photos of his engagement is he proposed to his girlfriend at like one of like the I don't know what they call. I think it's Boo Bash is what they call the Halloween parties in Disneyland. Yeah. He proposed to her. They were both cosplaying as Rapunzel and Eugene, and he proposed to her in front of the tower. And I'm like, this is how I know this is Disneyland, because that's not a bathroom.
It's not a bathroom. Oh my.
Yeah. So this episode really, for me, a lot of it is, I wrote this down about Emma's superpower, which might be something to do with your thing about snow, and you don't know what the note was referring to.
I can't remember. I'm so mad at myself.
Well, because this was the next thing in my notes, which is why I figured maybe this is what it was, is like, this is what's so frustrating about Emma's superpower is it's kind of the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
Because it does get clouded with her emotional state. They're not wrong in that Emma's not always right when she's emotionally invested. But the dramatic irony of the situation is she's actually right here and we know this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's being gaslit by everyone around her that they're like, no, do you think you're just like, harboring some feelings? Like, no, like there's real concrete evidence here that Tamara is not who she says she is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to say at that point. Like, I'm just like watching this. I'm just like, because a lot of what they did in this episode is the dramatic irony. A lot of it, like, and then they'll say that in the next episode is like so much of what they put in there is like they're catching the characters up to where like the audience is at this point with all the information.
Very quickly.
And, yeah, like they did like they're only like behind by like a scene or two, but still it's a case of like they're getting everybody caught up. And it's just it's frustrating to watch.
Very. Oh my god.
Especially that one. But can we talk about their locator potion to find Regina though?
Maybe that's what it was. Oh my god.
Maybe. Because like
I think that's what it was. Because then, like, I couldn't find her, but it smelled like anchovies.
Yeah, it smelled like sardines. Like
sardines. Yeah, well, same thing.
I think I wrote that down. I'm like, I might be a little too close to the situation, but I do think in a town that has a cannery, the second you say sardines, I know exactly what you're talking about personally.
Yeah,
but like the tier mixing spell is way more complicated than it needed to be.
Honestly. Because,
like, at the beginning of the season, the locator potion we saw was he poured it on a hat, and the hat went flying and found Jefferson. Like, we don't have one of those? You can't just, like, get one of her shoes or something?
She's got some nice ones.
And it goes just, like, walking down the street, showing you where it would be a little like Bedknobs and Broomsticky, like, just kind of having a mind of its own, just walking down the street, going to find her. But no.
I would love that.
But no, we don't see that, unfortunately.
They didn't want comedy.
No, they wanted...
pain.
They wanted pain. Although it works in the show's favor, Ginny self-proclaims that crying on cue is one of her few special skills.
I mean, that's a good skill to have as an actress.
It is a good skill to have. I'll link the video that I was from, because I was getting a couple of clips from like sound bites from this one interview that they did from SDCC 2013, where she's like, "This is my actual skill," and like Lana makes a face. She's like, "No, I'm not kidding." She's like, "Sometimes I don't know what to do. I figure I'll just cry. Maybe they'll think this is good acting."
It's a good skill.
It's a good skill to have.
She's used it many times.
She has, and it really comes in handy. Sometimes Snow White really is... You remember the Ember Island Players episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No, I don't.
So that was one... It was towards the end of the show where they were on Ember Island waiting for like the final battle situation to happen. And so the Ember Island Players put on a spoof version of basically what had happened throughout the entirety of the show. And Katara is just the version that she does a lot of crying and a lot of talking about hope. And at one point she's like, "All this hope is making me tear bend."
It's been a really, really long time since I've watched Avatar. Remember?
It's been a long time for me too, but some things just stick. There's something about tear bending. It's
apparently hard to let go of that one. It now because Sammy convinced my daughter to watch it, and she's watched it like 3 times through now.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to watch that too.
It'll be a good time.
It will. After I finish the Owl House.
Okay, that's fair. So back to Greg and Tamara's lovely plan and everything else that's going on with them in the home office and all this other shit. The Believers. Again, I love the irony of them being there to stop magic, and their head office is literally fucking Peter Pan. And they have no idea what he's actually after. It is not the destruction of all magic. They could not be further from the truth. I'll let you see what happens there with season 3, but their spiel about magic crossing over, I know that it has more to do with Neverland. That's clearly what they're drawing from.
Yeah. But
what's funny is this is it's a definitely not small piece of world building that we'll see in season 7. That wasn't really anything that I had really thought about before, but it actually was very cleverly included. We see how the land without magic becomes a land without magic.
Oh, interesting.
This plays into the fact of even outside of Storybrooke, outside of that realm that has magic, people can still use magical items.
Mm-hmm.
Or even in Storybrooke, when there wasn't magic there, you could still use. Regina was able to use magic, the hat, and all that other stuff. the land without magic was not always the land without magic, which I find really, really interesting. And we'll see what happens and what's that catalyst for there no longer being any magic in this realm in season 7.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. I wrote down every realm is a realm of stories somehow, which I think is kind of just a cool way to kind of that they'll bring everything together in season 7. But so much of the scene with Regina and Greg, I wrote this down, like, it's impressive to be strapped to a table, being tortured, but still hold all of the power in that scene.
Yep.
Like, she's the focal point, obviously, but, like, she still, like, even though he has her literally tied down and attached to a shocky machine. I called Greg Shocky Boom Man. Like, the Avatar The Last Airbender references were high on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, Shocky Boom
New
Man.
name.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, we're only going to see Greg one more episode.
Oh, thank goodness.
Then he's gone. Greg and Tamara this is not a spoiler. You'll see this in a few days. Greg and Tamara don't last past 301.
I'm okay with this.
Me too. But
it hasn't been my favorite storyline. I'm kind of like, they've spread it out so long, and I'm like, can we fix this, please, and just end this portion? Well,
especially coming off of Korra, which was a storyline that you were enjoying so much, which is unfortunate. And like, that's why I'm like, it'll be interesting to see what happens as we go through in the first half of season 3, because I truly do think 3B is absolutely worth getting to, because I find that story so much more compelling, personally. They are two sides of they're like two versions almost of the same story in a way, just with different characters. So I feel it's not tied together quite as well as other seasons that do their A half and B half thing. But I'll talk more about that probably in the episode next week when we talk about 301. As to why, like, they did the half and half. But so, like, Greg and Tamara after 301 are done, and something else takes its place, being evil Peter Pan. And while we will reserve judgment until we get there.
Okay.
I promise.
I'm so excited for this different type of Peter Pan.
You like Peter Pan, though.
I know, but I like the child Peter Pan, and that, like, whimsical.
So you're not as excited about making him a villain?
I'm not.
Which I find just interesting.
I know. I told you I would surprise you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't like it. It's creepy. He's like collecting boys. Why is this happening?
I mean, he is technically a kid. I mean, we're not going to see him, obviously, until 301. He's played by an actor who, at the time of filming, for most of filming, the actor was 17, because he's almost exactly my age. He's only like a month or two older than me.
Okay.
So he was 17 for most of filming, if that helps.
It helps a little. We'll just see how I feel when I watch that one. It's just the creepy shadow and like the way everybody was acting about Peter Pan when they were actually, because even the way Hook was acting, it felt weird. I was like, Hook's usually the villain. I know he's like more of like an anti-hero type.
Yeah.
He's a pirate. He is what he is in this, but it just felt weird and off. And I don't know, it put me, which is so weird, because I'm like that, villains and creepy stuff, but like for something with like Peter Pan, it just felt weird, and I didn't like it.
I think part of this is watching it at your age.
Oh.
And to be fair, I didn't like it I didn't like it at the proper age either, but that's also, I'm me. And Peter Pan is a boy, and I don't like boys. So
I'm 30. I don't like boys.
There's that too.
Specifically 17-year-old boys. They're very annoying.
Yeah, because that was the thing, and I'll probably talk about this more as we go on, because there was a subset of like adult fans that were like simping after that character, and that I'm like,
oh, it's Twilight all over again.
I'm like, he's 17, and like one could make the argument, yes, the character is a couple 100 years old. I don't care. There's
a difference between the character and the actor.
Exactly. There's a difference between, like, this I say a lot about, like, age gap relationships. Like, when they're, like, it's like Rumple and Belle. The That's age gap.
Different.
No, I'm saying it's the age gap of him being 240 and her being 30. That doesn't bother me. Not to say that, like, Bobby and Emily bothers me. But, like, that gives me more of an ick of there being a 30-year age gap between them physically. than the fact that he's a couple hundred years old in a character. That's different, but he's also an adult. Like that argument there works when the character and the actor, or when the actor is an adult.
Yeah.
When the actor is 17, maybe we don't make the argument that the character is a couple hundred years old.
It makes me think of all the other different types of age gaps, because I brought up Twilight because of, like, there were groups of women who were waiting for the guy that played Jacob to turn 18. Like, they had a countdown.
I hate that
until
so
he
much.
turned 18, and it was disgusting. I don't recommend Twilight to anybody. It's a horrible series, in my personal opinion. And
opinions are subjective.
And that's one of those ones, though, that is a creepy storyline, because yes, that's a vampire who's hundreds of years old, or however old Edward is, and Bella was a high schooler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not okay.
No.
So this I feel differently. I'm also in a relationship that's kind of an age gap, not a huge age gap, but I am. But I didn't meet him until I was 25 years old.
That makes a difference.
Makes a huge difference. So age gap is a fun discussion.
Yeah.
But not a fun time.
No. Not at all. But I wrote down towards the end as Bae lands in the waters of Neverland. I wrote, kid, you're already in Neverland. Even if you don't land on the island, suck it up and say hi to your stepdaddy.
Well, he really killed me with that. He's like, take me instead. And then he takes him to Neverland. He's like, no, I'm not going to you can't take me there. And I'm like, you literally volunteered.
You knew exactly where you were going. And, like, to be fair, like, the Shadow could have been a little less aggressive with the flight. They could have gone up.
Shadow could have just not existed, man. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Oh. Like, I've been watching nothing but horror lately, except for The Bear, but that could be a different, that could be horror if you look at it the right way. And I just, something about this specific story, I was like, I don't like this. We're stealing children. Let's not. No, I'm a mom. I don't want to steal children.
No, I think we're okay without the stealing children. But my last note on this one, after they got Regina, and I also done Regina needs time and rest for her magic to return. The next hour, let's use all of her magic to save ourselves.
Yeah.
But like everyone's justified in their upset and their confusion. But truly, yes, the more pressing issue is that the thing that can kill them and destroy Storybrooke is now in the hands of two people hellbent on destroying magic. Focus, people.
Yeah, I did enjoy, like, other aspects, but I think you're about to go into the other things that happened later. So that'll be for the next part.
Yeah.
Because my brain's functioning just fine, I promise.
It's fine. So did you give these episodes separate scores, or did you just score them together?
I did separate.
Okay, so what did you score this one?
So I gave plot 7.
Okay.
For the aforementioned.
Stealing children.
The whole discussion we just
to be fair, but to be fair, if we're gonna go back all the way to J.M. Barrie with the whole children thing, like people like to say that it's like this, like a lovely whimsical thing. I'm like, he kills the Lost Boys when they get too old. People forget that.
Oh, you're right.
The original one's pretty dark.
I've never actually read the original,
and that's okay.
I didn't know. It's not like I've actually read like the original Beauty and the Beast, and she had sisters and all the other kind of things.
Yes, I'm not trying to invalidate your score. You're still perfectly welcome to your feelings. It's fine.
No, I didn't know that about. I've only seen, like, of course, the original Peter Pan, the one I tried to get you to watch at some point.
Oh yeah, I never watched it.
What was the other? That's fine. What was the other? The one that was actually had Johnny Depp in it, and it was about the author who wrote the book. I forget what it's called.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Finding Neverland or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's so sad. It's a really sad story. So I've watched stuff like that. I've never actually... Yeah. And so character and personal are both 8s.
Okay.
And so I gave this a 23.
Okay.
Not terrible.
No, not at all. I think that's a perfectly serviceable score. This one gets a 9 for plot just because it really is plot from beginning to end. And like it's chaos, and I'm okay with that at the end of the day. It gets an 8 for character because Greg and Tamara. I'm just like, stop, for love of God, stop. And it gets a 7 for personal because like this one is not. It's not one of my least favorite finales.
Yeah,
it's also not one of my favorite finales. And it's. I think I had more fun pulling in the different links for the Fantasyland commercial than I did for the episode itself. Lana. So yeah. So this one gets a 24 for me, which is a reasonable score. in general.
As I said with the Neil and Emma love story, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Alrighty, so now moving on to the final episode of season 2, episode 222. Despite the fact that this is a 2-part finale, like these episodes are clearly linked as their episode titles mean to be of the same story.
Mm-hmm.
They aired on 2 different nights. This episode aired a week later.
Goodness, I didn't have to separate these.
No.
Can you imagine?
I can't wait to hold over you, because it's going to be the 3A to 3B separation of you're going to be like, what just happened? I need to watch this immediately. I'm going to be like, imagine waiting 3 months.
No, I'm good.
That was our life.
I'm waiting for Bob's to come back. Like, which is funny, because I think by the time this episode comes out, Bob's will be back.
This is end of September, so probably.
Yeah, Bob's will be coming back already by the time this comes out. But as of recording, the first week of July.
Yeah.
No, I'm still waiting, sadly, for Bob's Burgers to come back.
Mm-hmm. So episode 222, and Straight On Till Morning, aired on May 12th, 2013. It was written by our showrunners Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and was directed by Dean White. And this episode was accompanied by audio commentary on the DVDs from Mr. Colin O'Donoghue, who plays one Mr. Captain Hook, and David H. Goodman, who's also an executive producer on the episode, which is like, I thought he was like one of the writers or the director, and I was like, when I saw that it was, I mean, Eddie and Adam makes sense because it's the finale. They always write the premiere and the finale. But it was directed by Dean White, and I'm like, so where does he come in? It's because he's a producer on the show. Does that make sense? So here's our synopsis for And Straight On Till Morning. In Neverland, having been picked up by the crew of the Jolly Roger, Balefire is taken under Captain Hook's wing when Killian realizes that Bay is Rumple and Mila's son. He has an instant fondness for the boy, because he and Mila had talked about going back for Bay when he was old enough. But he knows that the boy can be useful, and gathers information about how to kill the Dark One from him. After Bay realizes that Killian is the pirate who took his mother, he doesn't want to stay on the ship any longer, and Killian barters him to the Lost Boys to ensure his own safe passage in Neverland. It seems Peter Pan is after a particular boy, one who bears a striking resemblance to Henry. And in Storybrooke, Greg and Tamara activate the trigger that begins to suck the life out of Storybrooke and its residents. The group devises a plan that involves Regina stalling the trigger so that everyone can get away safely, leaving her behind. Blue has created a potion that can bring back someone's lost memories, and Gold uses it to bring back Belle in their final moments. After Henry begs them not to sacrifice Regina, they attempt to send the trigger through a portal to protect everyone. But Killian had secretly kept the bean all along. In a last attempt to stop the trigger, Emma combines her magic with Regina's, and they're able to save everyone. But Greg and Tamara were quick, and steal Henry in the nick of time, taking him through a portal. Together, Regina, Emma, Killian, Gold, and the Charmings board the Jolly Roger to save Henry, and follow them down their own portal to Neverland. This was, for a finale, a lot happens.
Yeah. That's yep.
So I will say that. A lot is happening in this episode. And to the point where, I almost can agree with the fact that it kind of needed to be by itself, because so much happens. A
lot happens.
It's you kind of need, that week in between to kind of, decompress from second star to the right.
Yeah, I didn't. I had about 30 seconds to decompress.
Yeah, you didn't have that. You did not have any decompression. You had no decompression time.
I still start with, despite our differences, we're family, and the wreath that exists.
The family wreath.
Because then you go in, like you said, stepdaddy, because then I wrote, just a little weird that Bay ends up with Hook, who hooked up with his mom. Pun intended.
I think they made the same joke in the commentary.
Oh, fuck. I'm okay with this, though. And I just have a random, Gold is the worst, because
yes,
he is. Everything gets more and more interesting as we're going through. I don't have a ton of notes on this, but I did have to make a comment, though, where it says free public library.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why does it say free public library?
Sometimes that's just, sometimes places do that. They'll use free or public.
Okay.
That's just, it depends on the region.
I've never seen that before.
I'm pretty sure the Philadelphia Library, it's the Free Public Library of Philadelphia.
I had no idea.
Just a regional.
In my little corner of the world, I had never seen that. Mm-hmm. I was like, I thought free was a given. Henry still loves his mom. He does.
Yes, he does. He ran right to her. He calls her mom. He says he loves her.
He's like, no, this is my mom. We can't leave her. And I'm like, you're killing me, Henry. You're killing me.
He loves her just in time for him to get kidnapped.
It's so fucked up. Like, okay. I had that moment of like, ooh, is Gold gonna bring Belle back? Is he gonna do it? Because I love he's like, oh, everything's going to shit. You're looting from me. And they're like, no, we just need a specific item. Help us out. Mm-hmm. Regina, growth. So much growth. So quickly, but so much growth. And I know that they're like, oh, but I'm going to sacrifice myself. And I'm like, oh, well, I know she can't die because there's too many seasons left. So we're good there.
Yeah, there's a few too many seasons left for her to die.
I was like, okay, I have no feelings about this. She's going to survive. I don't know how.
But it does. That's the thing is, like, it does change the stakes because, like, that's the kind of thing, like, on rewatches, like, that a lot of times is, like, you have that initial surprise and then the rewatch turns into anticipation of the surprise. So now the stakes of watching the episode changed from is Regina going to die or is she going to fail and they all going to die? Now it turns into how do they solve this problem in the anticipation of that solution? Yeah.
And then immediately I go into like, oh, hey, yeah, he just decided to bring Belle back. No questions. That went so fast of like, oh, is he going to? Oh, wait, he did.
Yeah, I stand for my thing of like, he's not wrong in that you're just going to wake them up to die. Like, that's not necessarily fair for them. But he should have returned Belle's memories for her, not because he needed her support.
Yeah, because then I immediately wrote in all caps, ew, no, Belle, no. Because she immediately starts kissing him, and I'm like, no.
Unfortunately, I kind of wanted one of them to make a comment of like, should we be watching this as they kiss, but they were talking about something else.
I wrote that Hook is getting so much information today because every time something happens, it's like Hook's like, wait, this is this person. Wait, what? Everything's happening, and he's getting so much information.
He's getting so much
in Neverland, then that story, and then here, and I'm just like, it's a lot to take in.
What's really funny is apparently in the scene where him and David get back, like go into Granny's because they have the beans from the fight in the cannery. And apparently it got cut out in editing, but originally in filming, when David walks in, everyone's happy to see him and smiling. And then when he walks in, everyone kind of gives him like a shifty look, like, who's this guy? And Colin made a good point. He's like, most of these people had never met him before. They shouldn't know who he is.
Yeah.
So like they should be like wary of this guy. Because out of that
new person,
out of that room, I mean, Emma had met him, Snow had met him, and Grumpy had met him. That was it. Henry didn't even know who Captain Hook was.
And then everything when we went there talking about Mila and, oh, but she abandoned me. I'm like, yes, she did abandon Bae. I still have feelings about that. Mm-hmm. They're not going to, I don't think they're going to change. I'm still upset that she just left her son.
No,
because
I know I can't change it.
Bae kind of proved himself a little bit being on the ship. Like, how long did they have to wait? I don't remember how old Bae was when she left.
When she left, he was about 3, and now he's about 14.
All right, so I guess
But this is my thing, is he's got that line of, we talked about going back for you when you were old enough. Mm-hmm. This is part of my thing of Rumpel let him, like, out of cowardice, Rumpel let him go down a portal, and then, I mean, he immediately regretted it, and then he spent centuries looking for a way to find him, and okay. But out of cowardice, he let him go down a portal, not knowing where he was going to end up, not knowing if he would be okay, like, truthfully, just out of his own cowardice, protecting himself. She left to protect herself and to protect him because she left him in what she thought was a stable situation with a plan to come back for him. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference. I wrote, I'm not crying when Henry starts hugging Regina and she's doing the thing. And I'm like, I'm not crying. I'm okay. Was that a Snow Can't Run scene?
Oh yeah. Cut? So when so the scene, I wrote this down. It's the sequence when they're running after them at the pier. So here's fun fact. If you don't follow my Once Upon a Time TikTok account, I mean, if you want to, you can. It's called Once Our Timeline Conspiracy, which is the world's least SEO friendly username ever. To this day, my most successful video has, last I checked, 1.5 million views. I do not know why. It is me pointing out the oddity of how they edit around Ginny running in that sequence. Because it's strange if you really pick it apart. And like, honestly,
that was almost at the beginning.
You see at the very beginning. And this was almost kind of like my proof of concept of like, people like when people get really nitpicky about shows that they like, because that video did really well for no particular reason. So that sequence starts, there's the 4 of them running in a line from left to right as we see it. It's Lana, Ginny, Jen, and Josh. Because Ginny is second in between the 2 of them, because she has that first line to Emma. The second they cut away, she has miraculously moved all the way to the other side, on the other side of Josh. So now she's all the way at the end of the line, so they can cut her out of frame entirely. And then when it's the front ahead shot where you see them, she's still very clearly running, because you can see her shadow and you can kind of see her legs behind him. Mm-hmm. She's very clearly running, but she is directly behind Josh, so you do not see her at all. Like, they have staged it in such a way that you don't see her. And I just think it's kind of hilarious, especially like Lana is running in heels better than she is. But this is the thing. So it's both a safety issue and a continuity issue, why they do this. This was apparently, according to someone in my comment section, it was by request for Jennifer Goodwin that for as often as they can, they either don't show her running or they use the stunt double. It was by her request. Because she is not the strongest runner, which is totally fair. She jokingly says, that's kind of like her running kind of looks like she's trying to get her whole body up off the ground all at once, which when we do see it, that's kind of what it's like. So they use the stunt double very often when you can't see her face. Especially for those Enchanted Forest scenes, if you're not sure-footed, you should not be running through, like, rocks and gravel and roots and other stuff. Like, you really shouldn't do that if you're not sure-footed. So the more they use a stunt double, it's safer. And if they have to cut around her for this case, that way you're never questioning when it's her and when it isn't. So it's more of a continuity thing. Yeah. If you see her running and the stunt double, like, something is different here.
Very.
So.
And my last two notes is just, why does Peter Pan want Henry? Because why? But I'm sure I'll learn soon.
Yeah, that's I think the first episode you find that out.
And then this just makes me want to immediately start season 3. Because I'm like, I want the answer to that question. Because like, okay, evil Peter Pan, fine. Maybe I can get behind that. But like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, that was like what they wanted to leave the show. They wanted to leave the season off on, leave fans with something to think about and for them to talk about in the promotion over the summer. Because, I mean, this is a case that this aired in May. The next episode will air in September. So, I mean, in our case, you're gonna get to watch it sometime in the next 7 days. But it's that was the question of, like, what does Peter Pan want with Henry? Why is Pan evil? Why did no one want to speak his name and all that other stuff? And it's very it's a cool thing to think about. So, fun facts for this part of this show, and I'm gonna try and interweave my chaos notes and the commentary notes. We are aware that these longer episodes do well, and we have other stuff to talk about, like kind of culminating the season. But we'll try to not make this episode 3 hours long for you all. So the trigger on set, like the little diamond thing, the lighting was practical, like them glowing on their faces. They had like a light that was glowing on them, but obviously the trigger itself was CGI. The stand-in for that was basically a tennis ball and a stick. So they had the right eye line, and apparently Lana's arms got sore by the end of filming that because from having to like act with like the tension of it for like however many hours they had to get that. So apparently that's got to be hard, especially on your arms, even if like you have like good like arm strength.
Like, she did really good with that, and then Emma comes up and starts, and her whole body's shaking.
Yeah, she went really method. She's like, ah.
She went really method, but, like, Regina the whole time is doing a great job, and then Emma comes up, and her whole body, I'm like, you're taking me out of it a little bit, because your whole cheeks are shaking.
She's just doing everything.
Everything.
So one of the Lost Boys, I wasn't sure if he was in the group of the Lost Boys this time, or because we don't see his face, and because other than the main Lost Boy, whose name I don't think got mentioned, the blonde guy who does speak.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, so his name is Felix. You'll hear his name, I think, in the next episode. Apparently he's named after one of the staff members on the show. So the other Lost Boys, you'll see their faces once we get into the season, but one of them is played by Jack de Blasio, who is Lana's then stepson.
Oh,
which I think is really nice. He's in, I think he's on and off for like throughout the entire season.
That's so nice.
I think is really sweet.
I like that.
I wasn't sure if one of them was him because you can't see any of their faces, but IMDb did confirm that he is one of the Lost Boys in this episode.
Okay.
And this was a fun fact that I got off of the wiki, but also they go a little deeper into how it works in the commentaries. I'm going to pull that up because the ship set that they use. So they did use the real pirate ship, which is the Lady Washington is the name of the pirate ship. They used the real one in the Crocodile, but apparently the ship got called. It was needed for some kind of tall ships competition, I guess, is what they called it. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm assuming it's a thing. I just don't know what it's called. Mm-hmm. So because it needed to get called back, but they still needed a pirate ship set, they basically were forced to build like near brick, like I don't know, what do I call it? Like plank by plank recreations of that deck.
Ooh, that's not easy.
No, they had, and they built 2 of them.
Oh, shit.
Because there's the one that's on the green stage, which apparently is on like these like airbag system that way. And there's like people like that are kind of moving it that way. Like they have like the feeling of it actually being on the water. And then there is one that's on a barge in like the harbor that they used in Steveston. That apparently the scene where Killian is like leaving them all to die with the bean, they have a tugboat that's just pulling like the ship barge.
Oh, wow.
So like that is actually them pulling him out to sea, basically.
That's a good way of doing that, though.
Which is a really cool way of doing that. And like the fact they have like the ship on like the green stage, and Colin made a joke. He's like, when I saw that they had to rebuild it on the green stage, he's like, oh, I think I'm coming back next season. Like,
that's like that's a way of knowing job security.
Exactly. Like, oh, my ship has been put in the studio. I think they're going to need me again. Which I think is just kind of
to him.
Unbeknownst to him, it's not just season 3.
Yeah.
He's going to be back for a while.
They're like, oh, they like the guy lighter. We're going to keep him.
Exactly. And David was good. He's like, truthfully, like, he's like, you were phenomenal. He's like, sometimes an actor gets cast and like it doesn't always work out. So the character doesn't always like come back. He's like, but we were always bringing you back, which was like nice for him to tell him that. This is one of my favorite notes because I say this all the time about this. If I had a nickel for how many times we have a faraway shot of Emma telling Henry while seated on a bench that someone he cares about is dead, but it turns out they're actually not dead, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful time.
Like, that's such a specific parallel for them to make, is we're going to have faraway shot where you can't hear what they're saying, bench, the person's not actually dead. And, like, it's in the same season.
Oh, God.
It's just so much.
They did it like, let's just do this again. It worked the first time, right?
Right.
Just do it again.
So are you sad, or are you, I'm assuming, are just generally not happy that Neil isn't dead?
Oh, I just didn't care. Okay, I was like, he's off the screen. I'm good.
Okay. How do you feel about the fact that this is going to bring back in Mulan and Aurora?
I am excited for that. That part, briefly. I'm like, I think I find it interesting that that's where he ended up.
Yeah.
Like, how did we end up there? It's interesting.
He's going to give us that little tidbit of world building that portals. I mean, we know this already, that portals take you where you're thinking.
Yeah.
And he was thinking of something specific. He was thinking home. Exactly. That's what he's going to say. Is he thought home, and that's where it took him.
Man, I mean, I'm happy to see Mulan again and Aurora.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can get rid of the other guy, but I'm happy to see Mulan and Aurora again.
That's going to be fun for 303.
Oh, that's soon.
I think 303 is what I'm thinking.
I guess we'll find out.
We will find out. I'm fairly certain it's that episode. Yeah, no, it has to be, because there's another reveal in that one. Okay. Brain working.
Yeah, we're on top of our shit today, right? We're on top of this.
So on top of it. That you have something that was quite a common fairy, which will involve Tinkerbell, which is a phenomenal inclusion of that character. She's played so perfectly, but it's just.
Oh Tink. God, I'm excited to see Tink if Peter Pan is evil. Oh my God.
Tink is a fun character. Tink, she has a good time with it.
Okay.
I too had my moments of Henry runs to hug his mother. Like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
It was
but I did love
sad.
It's so sad. But I did love in the memory potions, or the scene where they're looting his shop to get the beer stein. You can hear Sneezy in the background going, "If I don't have a family, do I still die?"
I didn't hear that, but I believe it.
Mm-hmm. He's got a good point there. He's like, if I don't have my memories, like, do I still die? Is that still how that works? Which is actually a good question.
That is a good question.
Because like the people believe they were born there, even though they weren't actually. So I did love the Regina's line of, "Everyone thinks of me as the evil queen, including my son. Let me die as Regina," which kind of parallels what she said to Snow early in the season with, "I was always the queen. It was you who added evil to my name."
Oh, nice. Good job to the writers.
It's good. It's a good parallel. And this season, I'll go, when I get into the commentary notes, I'll kind of go more into that. But this one, this finale has a lot of intentional flips and parallels to the season 1 finale, which Colin asked a phenomenal question that I will get to, because I'm like, finally someone asks them this. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And this was also, I'm just going through my notes at this point, and I mostly just highlighted lines at this point, because a lot of like the chaos notes that I highlighted, you also brought up. But
great minds think alike.
They do. Snow said about what happened to Cora, and her saying that like helping to save Regina can be a part of her redemption. And Emma says like you did it because you had to. She went, I did it because it was easy. There were other paths. Mm-hmm. And what have I been saying? There were other options besides killing her. Like saying I will use her heart to control her and she won't be evil is a little idealistic, but it is an actual option.
I like the one she went for with personally, but maybe I don't have what is it, a good heart or something?
I don't know.
It was smart.
Yeah, it was. It made sense.
It did.
You may not be strong enough, but maybe we are. And then I went, could they have made this line any gayer? Like, I still stand firm in my thing of Swan Queen of like, Swan Queen doesn't make a whole lot of sense in canon, but like sometimes I'm just like,
there's really? Moments that you're like, yes, let's do this.
Yes, very, very, very gay. And I just loved how all of them kind of held themselves tight to the ship at the end. Because Regina's very practical and holding on to a rope that's wrapped around her arm. Obviously, Killian's at the helm, so he's good to go. Gold's just kind of haphazard but sturdy as he's clinging on to like one of like the rigging pieces. David has the rope wrapped around Snow as he's holding on to the two of them. And then you just have Emma hanging on to like some unstable rigging in the background, hanging on for dear life.
I don't think that works as well.
Not as much. Not so much. So this one had commentary, like I said, with Colin and David H. Goodman. And ironically, they didn't say this until the end of the episode. They were recording it remotely. David H. Goodman was in LA. Colin was in Dublin.
Oh wow.
Scheduling.
Wow.
There seems to have been no overlap in their audio. Really, they sounded fine. You never would have known.
They have probably some very professional not narrators. Wow. We're doing
some professional
we're
audio people.
Yeah, they probably have people far better at this than you and I.
Oh,
we're
definitely.
Good. We're good.
But we're at the mercy of like consumer level software.
Exactly. They have like the big boy stuff.
Oh yeah. So apparently they were asking a lot of stuff about Colin's experience working with Bobby, and he said Bobby was an actor that he actually looked up to like in drama school. Like he did a lot of study of like some of his work when he was in drama school, and he thinks he did an incredible job of switching between like the emotions, because you can find the human like qualities in Gold, but then you see the fantasticalness of like the dark one, and no matter what, it's always very believable, which I think is accurate.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. At one point David went, no spoiler alert, we go into season 3. I suspect people are not watching this commentary and watching the episode for the first time. Like that was kind of a no shit situation.
Yeah.
But what I said about this finale being a reversal kind of what we saw in season 1, because they wanted the stakes to be similar without it feeling repetitive.
Yeah.
And season 1, Henry's life is what's at stake. And you have Regina and Emma being very at odds, but ultimately coming to a solution that works. In this case, everyone else's lives are at stake and potentially leaving Henry alone. And it's different while it still keeps Henry as the focal point. And they kind of bring that up all throughout anytime like he points something out is like, oh, that's a different flip. That's a different flip. And Colin eventually asks about this intentional flip, and he's like, do you guys plan that ahead of time? Which we would love that.
Yeah.
His answer was, I wouldn't say it was planned.
He said, happened that way.
Like he says, like they sit in a room and kind of discuss how it has to be different. They kind of talk about different ideas, and eventually just someone comes up with a way to flip these story beats. And that's how they know they come up with something fun, is like when like it all kind of clicks. But basically, it's just them locked in the writer's room trying to come up with things.
Can you imagine doing that?
I'm just like, it's a big brainstorming thing. Like that speaks to like how they come up with these stories is like, obviously they all work on them together, which also could put into reason why some stuff seems so inconsistent, is they don't really let anyone be like the helm of someone's storyline. Because then you at least have one, it's to the showrunners to know like when something's going to get messed up, right?
Yeah.
But like, they kind of let the right, if it's so collective, which is sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, that could be why things seem inconsistent so often.
I need them to do it kind of like D&D style.
Like
everybody sit down with D&D style, and each person's got a character. And so if something comes up from like the story, like, and be like, no, we can't do that.
Like, they need a DM that's going to actually like, keep everything on track.
And then, like, oh, how stupid is this actor? Not actor, I'm sorry. How stupid is this character going to be? Very, I rolled a 1. Like, it would be freaking hilarious. Can someone do that, please? Is this person lucky? I rolled an 18.
There you go. The one time I played D&D, I was a bard, unsurprisingly. But I was trying. We were in a fight, and my character. I was trying to do something cool, and so it was my turn. So I said I do this cool thing with the sword, and I rolled on that one. And my DM was like, "You cut your own hand off by accident, I guess."
Can you guess what my D&D character was when I used to play?
Were you a rogue?
No.
Oh, what were you?
I was a thief.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which is really fun because if anybody has ever played D&D, no one pays attention 90% of the time. Everyone's talking and snacking. Mm-hmm. I sat next to the DM and I was like, hey, can I do something? He's like, what? I was like, can I steal from people if they're not paying attention? And he's like, if they're not paying attention, that's on them. The amount of shit I stole. And at the end, everybody's like, wait, what do you mean I don't have that anymore? And he's like, oh, she stole it.
She stole it like 20 minutes ago.
It was the best time. The amount of shit I stole. It was so much fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was a thief.
Yeah. So what was your take on Bay and Killian's relationship? Like, did you think he was more planning to double cross him, or did it come across as more sincere to you?
More sincere.
Okay.
I feel like his love for Mila, like, really, he was really trying to actually bond with Bay. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't end that way because of Bay's own adolescent emotions. Because I feel like if you're older, you might see that a different way. Like, seeing then he's like, oh no, like, okay, let me see if this guy's actually telling me the truth. I miss my mom. It really sucks. But like, he grew up essentially without a mother because of this. But with all of Rumpel's like history, especially with Bay, it frustrates me that Bay didn't see it the same way.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, he is 14.
He is 14. I have to put on the fact I have to do what you do. I have to remind myself this is a child. But man, it had me frustrated. I was like, but he'd be the perfect stepdaddy. Like
he would, honestly.
He really would.
It's important. It's good that that's what you come up with, because that was what they were going for. Like, they did want to make it a little seem like people could interpret it either way, whether he's, kind of being more facetious or not. But like Colin did play it very specifically of like, there's no plan behind this. It's a genuine plea for where Hook sees some kind of salvation for himself through Bay at that point. And like, yes, it started out as I can get information from you about how to kill Rumpelstiltskin and get my revenge. It did start that way, but by the end, it becomes a very genuine plea, and like he does believe, like if Bay towards the end did say like, actually I changed my mind, I want to stay, he would have been like, okay, go hide, we'll fight the Lost Boys.
Yeah,
like
we'll do.
He would have done something to save him
purely because of his love for Mila, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. Like he says, like he's like, maybe like there's like some fate here, like you came to me so that we could be in each other's lives the way Mila always wanted us to be. Like, he does genuinely believe that. He does want family. Like,
it totally goes back to the wreath, though. It's so interesting.
All the characters want. They all want. All of them want family. At this point, all of them somehow end up with more family than they know what to do with, which is...
It's very interesting. It's like, we all want family, but not with each other. Like, It's so funny. I just want family. And then you look around, and it's just the people that they don't want to be near.
Yeah.
It's too fucking funny. Mm-hmm. Because... I already know, the Snow, not Snow, Emma and Killian, like that's already known to me.
Yep.
And it's just so funny.
I read you the ever wonderful line of, so you've been with my former lover and my son.
Which is so funny, but then you add in the stepdaddy moment for Hook.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, and then Hook finding out that Neil is Bay and that Bay, that he's Henry's father, then he's just sitting there like, step granddaddy? Like, what? While talking to the woman he's going to end up with? Like, like you said, it's wreath because I'm sitting here. Nope, just a circle.
From every angle, it's a circle.
From every angle.
From every single angle. Apparently, the port and starboard cheat sheet was CGI. It was much easier for them to do that visually than to have Colin try and scratch something out with his hook. And
I bet he would try, though.
Well, he said, trust me, if I had done that with the hook, the handwriting would not have been as neat. We'd still be on take 500.
Fair.
Which is totally fair. Oh god, this thing about the mine scene was funny because David asked him about like the strip of the mines that we see all the time. He's like, is that multiple sets or do they just kind of redress the same thing over and over again? And Colin was like, nope, that's pretty much all there is. There's a cave towards the end, but they just kind of redress and use different angles so it looks different all the time that they use it. And apparently, for the scene where him and Regina are walking like through the cavern to go towards where Maleficent is, like there's multiple different shots of them in that cave. And he's like, yeah, so basically we walked down in that direction around the corner and then we went back and we filmed it from a different angle around the corner again. And then we turned and we stopped. Like, I know those 20 feet very, very well.
Fun times.
Which is funny because like truthfully, like, that means they do a really good job with that. Like that, I wouldn't have known that it wasn't multiple sets, but like every time we see the mines, it's the same. Every time we see the mines, it's the same section. And this last one was just my favorite part. This is like one of the favorite stories I think I've heard so far. While Belle and Gold are having their very like tearful goodbye moment, the rest of the cast, the rest of them, they all kind of had to look busy, like readying themselves for like the journey on the ship. So at one point you see kind of Josh like tying something, whatever. But apparently they were moving around like baskets and like the other things on set to look busy. And Colin's leg was still bothering him. So apparently what he did was he messing with the girls a little bit, which I'm guessing was Jen, Ginny, and Lana, by giving them like really heavy sacks to carry around. And then he would walk around behind them and like they'd untie a rope and he'd retie it. So they'd have to untie it again. He was just messing with them because they had to just look busy for however long it took to film that shot. And it was one of their last scenes that they were filming for the season. So he was having way too much fun with it. But it's really a shame we saw none of that.
Oh man, I would love to see that.
Like you can clearly see him like I can almost like see him like partially trying and guilt them and like, oh, my foot is not doing well, please carry this, and it's like 25 pounds. So that was there were some good funny ones from this commentary. I think I read most of them as far as I can tell. I read everything that I highlighted. This one, there was a little bit of like the commentary that I like of like some of the process stuff, some of what it was like to film on the day kind of thing. A lot of this was Colin talking about him with having just come off from breaking his leg. So like they had him like run and fight and do all these other things. The cannery set, I was unaware of this. That's an actual cannery that they film in.
Oh, cool.
They found that like I think while they were film scouting for season 1 or maybe the beginning of season 2, like we have to use this, and so they found it. But a lot of it was like some bits of it were like David is going to be like, and here we are with this, and I'm like, dude, you don't gotta say what's on screen. We can see it. You can see it. We can see it. Like it was like almost a little bit of like mansplaining. I'm like, I can see what's on screen. This isn't an audiobook. But he did his best.
He did do his best. I mean, that's what you get with the producer, you know?
Exactly. He's trying to have something to talk about. And a lot of it was he did his best to ask Colin a lot of questions, because I think most of the commentary in this one was really coming from Colin, and because he had more to say. It's like if this was an episode that I think David H. Goodman is usually a director. I think. Okay. So like if it was an episode he had directed, I feel like he would have had more to talk about, kind of like what I said about the commentary for Broken, which was Ginny and Josh. Like they had way more to talk about from 7:15 a.m. because they were on screen pretty much the entire time. Yeah. Versus from Broken, they're in a lot of the episode, but like there's times where they're kind of like at a loss for what to say because there's nothing. They don't have any stories or anything to bring up from that scene if they're not in it. So what did you rate this episode?
So I gave plot and character 8.
Okay.
Because I mean I had my moments of who the fuck is Peter Pan. Through it.
Yeah, Peter Pan.
That's Peter Pan part. And, I was happy Belle came back, but at the same time, I'm like, please get away from Gold. Like, no, but I had to treat that. I'm starting to think like kind of like Emma and Neil, but at the same time, I like Belle. It's not that I don't like Emma. I don't have anything ill will against her. She's not my favorite.
It's different.
It's different. And I gave Personal a 10 because I did enjoy this more than the other episode. Nice. So it's a 26.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one I gave also same plot as 9, same as the last one, because it's I mean plot wise these are two parts of the same story. It'd be weird to kind of, in my opinion, for me at least, it would feel off to give them different plot scores. It got also Personal 7 is the same as last time also because like I feel the same. Yeah. This one just gets a 7 for character just because it's a lot of let's sacrifice Regina for the fun of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really feel great. So this one actually gets a 23.
You're like, let's not get rid of Lana.
Let's not get rid of Lana. She carries your show for you. So.
I mean, Hook's here now, too.
That is. This one gets a 23, so it actually gets one less point than the last episode. I like it a little less than the first part. Although
they were opposite.
I know, but I think but the pointing out of Jennifer Goodwin's edited running is still hilarious to me. But
oh yeah,
I have to. So I asked you this at the end of last season, and we're gonna do it again. So what are 3 things that you were looking forward to seeing in season 3?
Okay, I have 3, of course. I did not. Mm-hmm. I did my homework.
Okay.
Regina's growth. We saw so much of it because, like, of course, season 2 was really up and down with her. Mm-hmm. She was trying to do better, not doing so great. Then mommy comes home, and then mommy gone, and then this, and I'm just like,
mommy die.
Mommy die. And it's a lot of, like, roller coastering. And but then seeing how she is at the end and the way she's speaking to Emma and everybody else, I'm just sitting there like, okay, give me more of this. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying this. I'm really excited to see how well this group works together. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, your 5-man band. I have a feeling we have our 5-man band.
Yes, I will do my official. Yeah, I will do my official 5-man band analysis at the end of 301. Okay,
and so I'm really excited for that. And with this, I like Gold more than I like Rumple, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And then I like Robert Carlyle so much more than either of those characters. So I'm really excited to see kind of what he does. But then my third one is I'm not looking forward to meeting Peter Pan and his reasons per se, but I am curious and want to see where it's going.
Okay.
From what I've seen so far with Peter Pan stuff, I don't think I'm going to be the biggest fan of this storyline. Mm-hmm. But I do. I want to see it. I'm looking forward to getting that story, and so I have closure because Henry's kidnapped. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, I say this a lot. If Peter Pan, Neil, or Gold are your favorite characters, especially the next 11 episodes of this podcast, at least the next 11 episodes of Once episodes, it's going to be a little hard, probably, to listen to. I think, at least for you, because I think you're going to latch on to the same episodes that I do.
Okay.
Which are 3, 6, and 9. I think those are spaced out enough. I know, ironically, right?
I'm a child. It got worse. I made it worse for you.
You were the worst.
I'm so sorry.
Those points are spaced out enough that it keeps you going through the season, because 3B, I think you are going to really, really enjoy, based off of how you and I tend to you tend to agree with me on a lot of things.
I do.
And in my opinion, except for the men. But I think 3B is really worth getting to because it's not as focused on Rumple.
Ooh, okay.
But 3A is a little more Rumple focused. So I am looking forward. Things I'm looking forward to you, because I also did my own 3.
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to you seeing Regina adopt Henry, because we are seeing that flashback.
Oh shit! I'm gonna cry like a baby.
That is episode 309, called Save Henry.
I would send you my therapy bills if I was in therapy.
Though that episode, what it makes me want is, we never get it, unfortunately, is seeing the time between that, when Henry's a baby, and the pilot, that time where he's a little kid, and seeing Regina with him then. We never get to see that, unfortunately.
So if I cry you at the beginning of September, you can't be angry with me.
I mean, I cry all the time when I watch the episode, so
I'm gonna call you and just sit there and cry, because that's gonna hit me hard. I'm a mom.
Oh, man. I'm sure. I am looking forward to you seeing who gets involved with a certain mermaid who has been teased before.
Who gets involved with a mermaid? Wait, someone gets involved?
No, don't think romantically involved. Just think who gets involved in that story.
It could be fucking anyone with a show.
What's really,
honestly,
I would love. That's what I'm saying. Is I'm looking forward to you seeing how that story unfolds. I mean, to be fair, 306 is just called Ariel.
I'm excited to see that. I truly am.
The name of the episode, but
I love Ariel.
People who are involved in that story, it's a little chaotic, but kind of in the best way.
Okay.
And for the very last one, I am looking forward to you meeting Zelina, which unfortunately will not happen until 313. You'll meet her in 312. Technically, she's in the very last. She's in the very last scene of the episode, and But like, this is why I say, like, I've promised, I stick to my word. I will do that entire episode with this voice for funsies.
You can do it.
I can maintain it. It's not an issue. It will require a very considered effort to turn it off when we're done, because I'm not doing a Bob's episode like this as well. That would be weird.
Oh my God.
That would be bizarre. I'm not doing that. But because, like, truthfully, like, I'm doing it for the episode she's introduced, but the episode where she's heavily featured, which would be 313, because for 312 she really does show up in the last like minute and a half, and she has like 2 lines and goes, "I know I look lovely," and then she just goes, "The queen may be evil, but I'm wicked. Wicked always wins." Like, that's all she does. That doesn't really count.
No, I need like full episode of
so
that.
So it wouldn't make sense to do New York City Serenade with this voice, so I'll be doing Witch Hunt with this voice, which
that sounds better. Which
comes even better because that's one where I have a very long sequence with whether I'll keep it in or not of that episode memorized, because I've done it for amateur ADR. So we'll see how that goes.
It'll go great. I can't wait. It's getting closer.
Oh yeah. So what would you say has been your favorite episode of season 2? Whether that's based off of the numbers or not. What do you think's your favorite episode?
All right. Let's see. I have to, look. It really is. Now looking at the episodes, I'm like, we really went from like the curse just broke to this.
We're going to Neverland.
What the fuck? Ooh, this is hard. Why are you gonna do this to me? I think Welcome to Storybrooke.
Ooh, okay. That is a respectable answer. That's the one I was like, this is just so unserious the entire time.
Yeah, I really like Welcome to Storybrooke. It was a 30, but that one.
Yeah. The Miller's Daughter remains to be my favorite of this season. It's upsetting.
You don't say.
It's upsetting, but it's my favorite.
I'm not surprised.
No. And I did actually I did the quick math, ironically, which makes sense, I think, because as we've been going on, I've been getting a little more critical of the show and being less kind of nice with my scores, because the average total score for this season was 24.09 for me, which is a reasonable number, but it's down by almost an entire point and a half, because season 1 was 25.4. What's your average?
24.5.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
That's amazing. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that keeps going.
Yeah, my average for season 2 is 24.5.
Dang.
Wow.
Okay. I love when that happens.
I do too. I had some feelings about this one.
Yeah. Well, this one, because this season had, like, I think I gave something a 13.
Yeah.
So, like, I was a little, so it's a little hard. It had more 30s than last season, but it also had
some low lows.
A 15, a 13, and a 14.
There were some low lows mixed in there.
Oh, they're about to get lower.
But you like this show.
Not 3A.
Did you expect me to, like, feel this way, even just seeing an inkling of
I expected you to like Hook. I expected that.
Oh, I love Hook.
I expected that. I had a feeling we would agree on a lot of, like, Regina-based things. I knew it would take time to get there, but I had a feeling we would eventually kind of agree on a lot of that. I don't know. For the sake of Beauty and the Beast, I kind of expected you to like Rumble a little bit more, but I'm kind of okay that I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm good.
So,
like, I appreciate what he brings to the story.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really easy character to dislike.
Yeah.
It's seeing him kiss people with the prosthetics.
We only see that really once. It only happened once.
So once is enough. And you've warned me it happens more. That alone. Because he does the giggle and all the other things, and it really puts me off.
The kissing, no, the kissing going forward does not happen with the prosthetics.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, that's in Storybrooke. There's no more kissing with the prosthetics.
Kudos to Rose for doing that and, like, doing a great job at it. And Robert Carlyle, I hope if you ever hear any of this, I love you. I think you're wonderful.
We'll probably never hear this. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But there is just something about the makeup and the mannerisms that really make me uncomfortable. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 5, Episode 13, The Gale Tales, and Episode 14, Little Hard Dad. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. If you'd like to join our book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.